Ever get that feeling?
Yeah.
Like you're stuck just staring at the computer screen waiting for something to load.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there.
It's like the internet's taking a coffee break and we're the ones missing the deadline.
And it's not just a minor annoyance, right? Think about that frustration, but magnified when we're talking about a business where every second of delay in data analysis can actually mean money lost.
It's true. Time is money, especially when you're dealing with the huge amounts of data that businesses depend on these days.
Mm.
So that's what makes our deep dive today so relevant. We're jumping into the world of cloud data warehouses.
Yeah, those systems companies rely on to handle and understand just massive, massive sets of data.
And we've got a research paper here with a really interesting angle.
Yeah.
It's all about making those warehouses faster, especially for the types of analysis that are crucial to how businesses work.
And what's really striking here is the sheer scale of data we're talking about. We're in the realm of exabytes now when it comes to these cloud data warehouses. To give you a sense of that, just one exabyte. That's larger than all the words ever spoken by humans throughout history.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of zeros.
Mm.
For those of us who don't speak data scientist every day, what's the significance of those exabytes? How do these data warehouses actually function?
It's like this. Think about every time you buy something online or you're streaming a movie, even browsing social media, all of that generates data. Companies collect it all, right? Then they analyze it to understand their customers better, make their services and products better, make smart decisions for their business. And to handle that mountain of data, you need a system that can not only hold it all, but access it quickly, run complex calculations. That's where cloud data warehouses come in.
So it's like they're the behind-the-scenes engines for a lot of what we experience online.
Absolutely. Think Amazon Redshift, Snowflake, those are some big names in the cloud data warehouse world. And they're dealing with data on a scale most of us can't even imagine.
So we've got these heavy hitters working with these huge data sets already. Where does this new research come in? What's their take on making things even faster?
That's the interesting part. Even with all the advanced hardware, the software engineering that goes into these systems, analyzing data sets that big, it takes time. And as we said, time is money, especially in the business world. The longer it takes to get insights from data, the longer it takes to make a move, adapt to the market. This paper dives into a new way to address that, particularly for a specific kind of query that's super common in data analysis.
This is where it gets really interesting, right? I'm guessing this paper gets into how we can actually use that to our advantage.
Exactly. And this is where predicate caching enters the picture. And honestly, it's a surprisingly elegant approach. The paper makes this great analogy. Instead of trying to remember the entire answer to a question, what if you just remembered where to find the answer? So you're not storing the full response, just a marker that tells you where to look.
Okay, so instead of caching all the results or pre-calculated views, we're caching locations.
Precisely. Predicate caching zeroes in on remembering the specific ranges of data that fit the criteria of a query. Think of it like creating bookmarks, but for your database.
But how does that work with all these repetitive queries? They might be similar, but they're not going to be identical every time.
That's the beauty of this approach. It's not about remembering each and every single query. It's about finding the data that's relevant to a condition and doing it efficiently. You know how in databases, a predicate basically means a condition that filters data. So this whole technique is about caching the results of those conditions.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. So instead of searching through all the data every single time, we use these bookmarks to zero in on the important parts.
Exactly. And the paper explores two ways to store these data pointers. One is called a range index, and the other is a bitmap index. Both really clever and surprisingly efficient in terms of memory usage.
Both sound interesting. So what makes predicate caching a better option than the other caching methods we were talking about?
Well, there are a few key advantages that make predicate caching stand out. The biggest one, it stays accurate even if the underlying data changes.
Right, that was the big issue with result caching, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Any updates, and it was basically useless.
Exactly. But predicate caching avoids that whole problem because it's not actually storing the results, just a map to get to those results, so new data just slots right in. It adapts as it goes.
Okay, that's huge. So no more outdated caches. What else makes it stand out?
It's surprisingly lightweight, too. Those ranges, those bitmaps we discussed, they use a tiny fraction of the space needed compared to storing full results, pre-calculated views, really efficient.
Love it. Anything else? I feel like there's got to be a catch.
Well, if you can call it a catch, it practically builds itself. We're not talking about manually maintaining some complicated system here. Predicate caching just happens automatically in the background.
So let me get this straight. It's accurate even with updates, it's efficient with memory, and it runs itself. This is amazing. It seems like this could be a total game changer for data work in general.
It really has that potential. Now, remember, we are talking about very new research, but what's so exciting is how well it fits with how data is used and stored these days. Cloud data warehouses, they're always evolving, always getting new information. Predicate caching seems perfect for that kind of dynamic setup.
This has been such a cool deep dive. We started with that feeling we all get, that impatience when things are slow. And now we're talking about a potential solution to make data analysis faster and more efficient than ever.
It really highlights how crucial it is to always be looking for innovative solutions, especially when we're trying to handle, understand, and really extract value from these massive data sets that are basically shaping the world around us.
Absolutely. Who knows, maybe this is the spark that ignites a whole new era
Yeah.
in how we manage and analyze data. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.